Scott Pierce in the Burien pit stop will be in lane number 1. The lane of choice was taken by Nate Brown. Everybody wants lane 2 today, and he'll be driving the Tide Taco Time. In lane 3, Miss Rock with Jack Berry. Lane 4, Mitch Evans in the Spirit of Lake Chelan. And in lane number 5, Pete's Wicked Ale, Ken Muscatel starting on the outside, and here they come, Dick.
And it looks like it's going to be a good start. All the boats are lined up. As they come across, they get the flag, and they're off and running. Scott Pierce in lane number 1 is going to try to hold on to that boat. It's a tough turn in lane number 1. That's why Jim referred to the lane of choice as lane number 2. And the Tide Taco Time is there. Nate Brown, he starts to take the lead as they go. Oh, Scott Pierce hooked. Scott Pierce hooked. No sooner did we say what a tough time he was going to have on the corners here, then he goes out and hooks it. So he has pulled into the center of the field. He'll try to get back out on the course after picking up the buoy. He does so, but he is trailing the field. Out in front, it is the Tide boat driven by Nate Brown.
Right now, Nate Brown in the Tide comes down into corner number 3 and 4, and he's going to be chased right there by Pete's Wicked Ale.
The Tide is leading the field and running flawlessly at the moment. That's a nice, pleasant change for owner Bill Worcester, who's watching on the sidelines.
Tide Taco Time owner Bill Worcester is watching this heat with us here. You went through some parts inventory in the Tri-Cities, Bill. Right now you're looking pretty good.
Well, yes, we're doing well out there today. This morning we're doing fine. We don't really have too much competition. The boat's not being run too hard. But yes, you're right. In Tri-City, we lost a lot of propellers and a lot of equipment. It's going to be tough today. It's going to be a hard race. But I've got confidence in Nate, and I've got confidence in our crew. We're out here to win. We're going to give it our best shot.
Well, right now, the best shot is out in front. Miss Rock, meanwhile, has gone dead in the water. Jack Berry, he's trying to restart the boat. He is allowed to do that. If he can get it back up on plane, he can get back into the race. Meanwhile, the Tide boat continues to operate with no problems at all.
The Tide in first, Ken Muscatel at Pete's Wicked Ale is second, and now Scotty Pierce has taken the KMPS presents Burien pit stop to third place.
And I'll tell you, Pete's Wicked Ale just took a wicked bounce out of the water and came back down. Ken Muscatel is really driving the boat to the max. You can tell when it lightens up, it means it's telling you, don't go too much further on that accelerator or we're going to have a real problem. He backed off it in time. He's still trying to catch the Tide boat. In second place, Pete's Wicked Ale, Ken Muscatel. Jack Berry is running in third. He is not actually in third place because he had a stoppage on the course. 124 miles per hour on a pretty rough course for the Tide boat.
So you can see that the water out here on Lake Washington is very rough. Look at the Pete's Wicked Ale go in there very hot and heavy but wide in trying to catch the Tide as the checkered flag is out for Nate Brown.
So Nate Brown, Bill Worcester, the owner of the boat, they are going to be very happy along with the entire Tide Taco Time crew. They have had a good start on the day in Seattle. They win Heat 1B to get off on the right foot. Now second place, Ken Muscatel in Pete's Wicked Ale. He had a rough ride but held it in there. And Scott Pierce takes a finish, and he finishes as a whole in the Burien's pit stop boat. Miss Rock finishes fourth, and the Spirit of Lake Chelan did not start. The problem there, a fuel injector filter was plugged up. They couldn't get fuel to the engine. Now watch the blue boat on the inside. Scott Pierce, he hooks it right there. He was very lucky that the boat did not go over. It's a tough turn in turn number 1.
Well, you took him into the turn first, then what happened?
Well, the pit stop by KMPS, we got in there and there was some real heavy-duty rollers, and the steering wheel just literally came out of my hand. It just spun it off into the infield, and you know, we got a revolutionary design boat, and I was hoping to take the inside and be able to smoke them down, and we beat them down to the corner, but the boat's just not ready yet to run the inside lane. We're going to have to go ahead and move the boat back to the outside where I keep the air underneath it and stop the theatrics.
Now let's go down to Steve Montgomery.
Nate, so far, just like you planned it.
So far, I mean, you know, we had a pretty easy draw, so we kind of kept the equipment together and that kind of stuff. And I got to hand it to my owner here who said, Nate, go for it. No, take it easy. No, go for it. No, don't take it easy. But now Bill's great. It's great to be able to have the opportunity to drive a competitive operation for the Tide and Taco Time and Bill Worcester. I really appreciate it.
Bill, you're one of the only 2 owners in the pits with 400 points. That's a nice situation.
It's a nice way to get the day started. We're looking for a good day, and we've got a lot of tough luck on propellers in the last race, but things look pretty good today.
Second heat in a row, it'll be Mark Tate and Smokin' Joe's and Chip Hanauer and Miss Budweiser going head-to-head. And, of course, there's Nate Brown, the winner of the last heat, also in there with the Pete's Wicked Ale, Lake Chelan, and the pit stop.
So good competition. They come around, they line it up. These are flag starts. They have to be lined up and approved by the referee. If they're in good position to start, they wave the green flag and send them on their way. Let's see if they get it this time around. The referee is checking out the boats. They are checking also from the helicopter. They get the sign. They're okay. They go racing on Lake Washington right out of the box. Miss Budweiser tries to take the lead, and let's see if she can hold it on, because now Chip Hanauer is a little bit further out on the course than probably he would like to be. As Jim said earlier, the lane of choice on this particular course is lane number 2. In the lead right at the moment, Smokin' Joe's. There's the challenge from the Miss Budweiser.
Bud running much faster down the chutes. They lost their fuel control valve to the restrictor last heat, and that slowed them down. Looks like that problem is solved as they go into corner number 3, side by side. Dick?
I think that at this point, Mark Tate has got to be thinking to himself, finally he has Miss Budweiser on the outside. Normally, because of the lane choices, it turns out that the Miss Budweiser gets the advantage over the Smokin' Joe's by forcing the Smokin' Joe's to the outside. Mark Tate taking advantage of every bit of speed, and you saw the Miss Budweiser lift up just a bit, 139 miles per hour for the Smokin' Joe's, 137 on the average for that lap for the Miss Budweiser. But you can see how the track lays out. The inside boat always will have a slight advantage. He will slingshot as they come out. Third place as they're running now is the Tide Taco Time. I think Nate Brown at this point says, let these two guys fight it out front. If either one of them goes down, I've got a chance of grabbing first. But right now, I'll let them battle it out. They may blow their engines for all he knows.
A little over one more lap to go in this 3-lap sprint here in Heat 2A. And watch the Budweiser now. Chip Hanauer coming on, and look at the hold-off by the driver, Mark Tate, as they complete lap number 2, around 143 mile an hour. There goes the Budweiser slingshotting. Whoa! The Budweiser almost looks like he almost hit Smokin' Joe's.
We're going to have to see if there's any call on that one. He was extremely close. I don't know if the boats actually hit. It sure looked like they might have. It has not affected the speed of the boats, but we're going to see now penalized 1 lap to Miss Budweiser. That means Mark Tate can lay back a little bit, save his engine. He knows he doesn't have any competition for the lead.
It's called encroachment, a 1-lap penalty, and that's going to put the Miss Budweiser back in 5th place, and that's 2 5th-place finishes. Will they make the final?
Boy, they're going to have to really come on strong to get some points and get up into that final if they hope to make it. Meanwhile, Mark Tate is going to finish with ease, and he takes the checkered flag. I am sure he is one very happy driver at this point. Steve Woomer, the owner of the boat, and the rest of the crew worked hard to keep that boat in competition.
And here's the way they finish, with a damaged skid fin bracket keeping Pete's Wicked Ale out of competition.
Let's take a look at the replay of what happened on the course between the Smokin' Joe's and the Miss Budweiser. They were battling at full speed. They come down, and you can see how clean the lanes are. But now watch Budweiser go in, and he almost looks like he clips the Smokin' Joe's.
Mark Tate, listen, what happened out there?
Well, basically what really happened was we were having just a heck of a boat race. 2 drivers really going at it, and you know, Chip approached a little bit going into corners 1 and 2 on the last lap, and the referees felt that it was bad enough that they gave him a penalty.
Did that affect your driving at all?
Well, you react to it a little bit, you know, and I crabbed up the boat a little bit in that corner, you know, knowing he was right there, and if I would have took a hop, we could have bumped each other. But, you know, that's just real good, hard racing out there, and it was a lot of fun.
Didn't affect Steve Woomer. He seems to be happy.
Well, we'll take a win any way we can get it.
I'll bet you will, Steve. Let's go down to hear what Chip Hanauer has to say.
Chip, were you surprised the penalty was called? Did you know that you got close?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought it was just good close racing, but my opinion's not what counts.
The members of your crew watching over here don't like the call. You're unhappy with it too, I presume.
Yeah, but it's behind us, so forget it.
There's more racing later in the day.
You got it.
Well, Chip Hanauer will have a little time to think about that before he's back out onto the course, and they take a little break here in Seattle with a demonstration of Armed Forces air power. Out of Washington, Dick Crippen along with Jim Hendrick and Steve Montgomery as we watch the T-Plus head out onto the course for our next race. You know, these hydroplanes are really technical marvels. The technology is so important to them. They are using computers in a lot of different ways, and that's the subject of our Eagle Snacks Performance Corner with Miss Budweiser team manager Ron Brown.
The computer age in hydroplane racing is here to stay. This computer is identical to that in the Miss Budweiser here. After each run, we offload the information onto this hard drive, onto the floppy. From here, we go into the transport. The information is then analyzed by the engineers. This computer monitors as many as 16 channels with a very high sample rate of 30 times a second. We can tell how fast Miss Budweiser is going in a straight line with this. We can monitor the G-forces the boat is seeing for the turn. We can monitor the acceleration of the boat. We can tell what the slip of the propeller is, the engine RPM, the engine vitals as far as the temperature goes, and also the fuel pressure. This computer was designed to withstand a blowover. It's waterproof, it's shockproof. It will withstand as much as 50 Gs. We had a mishap here a few days ago when the Miss Budweiser did blow over. But we were able to save all that information and from this computer analyze why the Miss Budweiser blew over. So as you can see, the computer plays a big part in the Miss Budweiser team.
Now here's the way they line up for Heat 2B here on Lake Washington. On the inside is the T-Plus with Steve David. Here's the rest of the field. Now why Steve David and the T-Plus would want lane number 1, I don't know. Nobody has wanted it all day long. For an answer why, let's go down to Steve Montgomery with Jim Harvey.
Jim, nobody's been real anxious to run in lane 1. You're going to give it a try.
Yes, the T-Plus engine treatment has to take a chance, and we've got to try and see if we can get a good start out of this next heat. Lane 1 was open, and our choice was to go there and see if we can make up some points.
When the Budweiser team has a couple of setbacks, it's kind of like everybody else catches a break.
Well, it's you could call it a breath of fresh air, which we're standing in a lot of that today, and see if we can capture some of that and then take advantage of the situation.
Well, as Steve was talking to Jim Harvey, you saw the start of the race, and the flag went down. Right out into the front went the American Dream, Dave Villwock. Dave already has a win under his belt from the first heat today. He's going to try to make it 2 in a row, which would be something he has not been able to do thus far this season. Inside the X side with Mark Evans. You get a little feel for how that course is going. If you watch his hand on the steering wheel, you can see he's got a lot of movement. Talk about movement. Both the X side and the American Dream got high. Both of them waving to the crowd, not intentionally. But American Dream settles right back down. Dave Villwock back in control, and he holds on to first place. T-Plus now riding in second place, and the Miss X-Side right outside of him in third.
140.5 mile an hour average for a lead boat. Now we're looking at the T-Plus in second place, but right beside him on the other side of that rooster tail is Mark Evans in the X-Side. They're battling for second place, trying to catch the boat in front of them, which is this boat, the American Dream.
And when you get that shot from inside the canopy of the Miss T-Plus with Stephen David, you can see how he's got a problem trying to keep that boat in lane number 1 on the inside of the leader's rooster tail. He's got to be careful because you hit that rooster tail wrong, you could have a problem, and he just went through it. Steve David just got a dose of that rooster tail. He gets outside for a moment, swings back in when it calms down. Boy, he has got to be concerned at this point. Look at Mark Evans. A lap speed for the T-Plus of 138, but Mark Evans now, who was riding at 134, found some more power. Now it is Mark Evans in second place to the American Dream, and third place is the Miss T-Plus.
Could have taken on some water. Maybe it caused a problem. At any rate, the T-Plus is now third as we look at the 2 boats in front of him, the American Dream and the X-Side.
That is where the battle is for second place. We'll see if Steve David gets enough power to come up on the inside of the Miss X-Side, driven by Mark Evans. Neither boat is up where they can get a good shot at the leader, American Dream. Dave Villwock just flat walked away from him. He said, I'm going for it, and there he went. Inside the X-Side once again, getting a good feel for how that water is reacting against the boat. Here's your winner, Dave Villwock, taking a much welcome second checkered flag. There you see international news going down in the water. Mike Jones driving that boat. Again, they will get a did not finish. That is too bad. They've really been working hard to keep that boat together and get it up there competitively. The American Dream takes the win, followed by T-Plus, the Miss X-Side, Miss Rock, and international news. We understand they had a gearbox problem. Let's talk to Mark Evans.
From our inboard camera, we're aboard with you. We experienced one heck of a race.
It was a little bumpy out there. The wind's coming from that end. It was quite a ride. I pushed it really hard chasing Bill walk into that turn in the Picos, and we got pretty darn loose, and we scrubbed some speed off there, and so I thought, well, let's work on Steve David now, and I knew Picos would come across on him and thought he had him, and we come around to that last turn and got into some more waves, and that's just enough to let the prop come loose, and Steve David beat me by just a hair. I haven't seen the tape yet, but man, oh man, it was close.
It was close and lots of fun racing. Now let's go over to Steve Montgomery.
Dave, the only guy in the park with 800 points. You got to love it.
I do. You know, this Fred Leland, Dan Walters, and this team, you know, worked so hard for Sunset Chevrolet to get us here and give us a good race boat. It was real windy, final light condition. It was real rough. But once again, they gave me a good boat ride, you know, make me look good.
And the draw couldn't be better.
Yeah, well, we'll hope we get another one like that.
Well, we'll see momentarily, but right now, American Dream's the only boat out there with 800 points. Smokin' Joe's right behind him, but look at that. No Miss Budweiser. Will they even make the final heat? All right, from the old to the new as we get ready now for Heat 3A, the Tide, Smokin' Joe's, Pit Stop, Beats Ale, Miss Rock, International News. They're all ready to go, and we're watching from the tower now to see if we get the flag to start this race on Lake Washington. Here they come, and there they go. Smokin' Joe's Mark Tate has himself a big win out here today, and he is in good position to do it again. He got his lane choice, and as we say, they like lane 2, and that's where he is, and he is out in front. Mark Tate in the Smokin' Joe's is leading the field onto the backstretch. He better watch to his left on the inside. He's got a boat coming up strong on him now, but he accelerates, hits it good, gets it going down there. The Tide Taco Time, Nate Brown trying to catch him. He's still holding that inside slot. He's got to know that if anything at all goes wrong with the Smokin' Joe's, he'll have the opportunity to move right up in there. He starts to move up a little bit more. Smokin' Joe's powers on again as they come down the front straight. This is great racing action on Lake Washington.
Yes, it is. As they come down at an average of about 140 miles an hour. We just had word that the International News, who did not make an appearance, could not replace a broken gearbox in time for this heat, so he's on the beach.
Well, we heard Jim Harvey talking earlier about how they have to come up with their own gear ratios and such, so it's not an easy task. It's not something you pull out and put in. If you don't have any standing by, you're in trouble, and that's what's happened there. Here's Scott Pierce, who's got to be feeling good after a lot of destruction to his boat last week. He's got it up and running, and it's looking pretty good out there, riding in third. Meanwhile, the lead boat, Smokin' Joe's, kind of got his pace. You know, they get out front, they find out what they can do. 140 miles an hour is doing it for Mark Tate right now. He wants to stay in front, but he also wants to keep his equipment together. He knows that later on he's going to get a challenge from several boats. He wants to be in good position for the final. Meanwhile, the Tide, another boat that has a win out here already today, is hanging right in there in second place behind him.
As we look at our leaders, Smokin' Joe's, there's a problem in Pete's Wicked Ale camp. They've gone down. Radio has it. Skid fin bracket has let go.
Another boat down on the course is the Miss Rock. They apparently had oil pressure problems. No problem at all for Mark Tate out of Detroit, Michigan, the winner of Heat 3A in Smokin' Joe's, owned by Steve Woomer. Jim Lucero and the pit crew did a great job. They take first, the Tide second, Pit Stop third, Pete's Wicked Ale restarts and gets fourth. Miss Rock did not finish with those oil problems. International News apparently had gearbox problems and did not start the race. So Mark Tate in Smokin' Joe's comes back to a very, very happy pit. He's got himself a great day going. We'll see how it continues momentarily. For the moment, look at this. No, that is an airplane. That 1994 Texaco Cup, and we've got a good heat of racing coming up next.
And here's the way they will line up for this heat. On the inside, once again, lane 1, Steve David T+. Lane 2, the coveted lane by Dave Villwalk in American Dream. Then the Miss X side, Lake Chelan, Miss Budweiser on the far outside.
Miss Budweiser hopes to get some points on this day. So far, they have come up with very little. There they go. That's the start of the race. Miss Budweiser in good position, taking on the X side on the far outside of the course. Those two boats side by side as they go into the turn. There's a good shot looking down. Back in third, it is the American Dream. We'll see if they can hold it in there. Meanwhile, it looks like T+ went right through. Well, not one, but two rooster tails.
Oh, that lane number 1 is so tight he couldn't hold it. And meanwhile, look at this. It is the X side and being challenged by the Budweiser on one side and American Dream on the inside.
Mark Evans is having himself a ball. Rare is the time when he can draw and pull the Miss Budweiser on the straightaways, but that's what's happening right now. He leads out of the turn. Let's see if Miss Budweiser comes up on him again. Chip Hanauer being in an unaccustomed position of playing catch-up. There are your leaders, American Dream, Miss Exide, and Miss Budweiser. 1, 2, 3 on the course. As you look down from above, you can see a great shot of the American Dream going into the turn. But let's go back. Let's show you a replay of what happened with the Miss T+. Watch closely on the left side of the boat as he comes up. Well, you don't have to see it on the left. There it is, almost center. He clips a buoy, then goes through the rooster tails. That is going to cost him. He is going to penalize for hitting that buoy. It's an automatic penalty that plays out in unlimited hydroplane racing.
Now we look at our leader at 144 mile an hour. The American Dream. Budweiser took a couple of bounces, almost went over. He's still in the race in very rough water. And look, the T+ has lost its cowling. Boy, this Lake Washington is really taking its toll today.
Well, he'd better watch out. He's coming around that turn now, and T+ from inside what Steve David sees. There you see Miss Exide getting a little bit light. But I'll tell you, Mark Evans is driving a great race and taking full advantage. There's the T+ engine treatment boat. Steve David driving that one. There's Miss Budweiser now in third place. You can see she's a little bit light out there. Remember, that is the replacement boat. So Chip Hanauer hasn't really had a lot of seat time in that boat this year. Here's your leader and your winner of Heat 3B. Dave Bilwalk takes it before the hometown fans. Second place goes out to Mark Evans. Third place goes to the Miss Budweiser. At least this time around, Chip Hanauer managed to get some points, 225 of them. Lake Chelan finishes in fourth place. Mitch Evans and the T+ back in fifth with the 100. Certainly are looking forward to it. The Miss Budweiser fans, good news. Chip Hanauer wins the last chance heat. Here's the way it looks for the final heat. American Dream, Smokin' Joe's, the Tide, Miss Exide, the Pit Stop, T+, Miss Budweiser, a trailer boat, but she'll be in it. And they're getting the boat ready now as Bernie Little talks to driver Chip Hanauer. Meanwhile, down the pit, Dave Bilwalk with a perfect day is getting the American Dream in the water. We'll be back in just a moment.